This on screen, off screen show where I like to talk about the media we consume, how it affects us, and how we are affect it. Um, this week it is just Lauren, the greatest of all time, and me, myself, and I. I'm gonna go ahead and get us started with my
All three of you
first
today.
topic. Yeah, I'm all together today. It's just it's
That's
like
good.
all kind of like fitting in there right now. So um, I'm going to get started. My first topic is Code 3. Have you ever heard of this?
No, I have
Okay.
not.
It just barely came out. Brand new Netflix movie starring Rainn Wilson, the guy who plays Dwight in The
Yeah.
Office. Yeah. Um, I had been seeing no like media about this, no promotional, no marketing, nothing. But I did see a couple of clips where he was talking about how it changed the way he viewed first responders.
Hmm.
And I was like, I'm a sucker for a good first responder show. I even like some crappy ones. So I was just really excited. I was finally able to watch it. And so Dwight stars as a long term paramedic. He's been there for like 20 years, been there a long time, and he has a trainee with him that day and his co paramedic. Um, and the point of this movie is to talk about how hard it is to be a paramedic and how it leaves such a lasting impact and like the life of a paramedic. And you never know what call you're going to get or what is going to happen. So it actually starts with the first trainee, but the first trainee is just to show how fast people wash out. So, like, he and this trainee get a call at this house, and they go in and they see somebody who's overdosed on the ground. So they're assessing the situation. They're trying to figure out if she's okay or whatever. And some lady walks in with a shotgun and starts shooting. So Dwight runs out of the building. The trainee kind of just like freezes for a second or whatever, comes out, and Dwight starts berating him and is like, when they have a gun, you run away. You don't wait for them to shoot you.
But it's a horror movie, so they had to go investigate. Just kidding.
Yeah. So he just the trainee goes off on this rant about how like people who do this job are insane, that he can't do it. That's absolutely bonkers. He's not going to risk his life to get shot. He wanted to go help people, and he leaves. And then, so that's just like the intro. So then we get into the meat of the show where it's talking about how like paramedics on average last 2 to 5 years. Those who last longer get very emotionally scarred. They're paid less than nurses and teachers. Um, they see way more than doctors. They're disrespected. Like there's a scene where he goes in to a muffin shop, and the muffin shop offers a discount to heroes, fire department and police. And he's like, give me my discount. I'm a hero. I'm a paramedic. And he's like, and the girl is like, sorry, fire department, police department only. And so, like, there are scenes where he turns to the camera and, like, breaks the fourth wall and talks to the audience. And he's like, the absolute disrespect that paramedics get is ridiculous. They get it from the people, they get it from police department. They don't take paramedics seriously. Doctors just like reminding the paramedics that they're not doctors. Um, all of those kinds of things. So it kind of builds and builds and talks, and it leads to Dwight wanting to quit, right? He's like, I'm sick of this job. I've been in it so long. It's taken over my life, and I can't handle it anymore. He deals with panic attacks caused by it, like his stress is through the roof, all those kinds of things. Um, there are times where, well, like 90% of this movie is very good, and you go, yeah, I can see that. Yeah, I can see that. Yeah, I can see that. And there are times where I feel like it's egregiously disrespectful to the other departments.
Mm,
Like, just because paramedics are disrespected or not taken as seriously does not mean that all cops are dicks. And
yeah.
that was a big point in this movie, is that all cops are dicks. Uh, like, they're responding to a patient that they already know ahead of time based on the address, who it is, that they're having a psychotic break. They talk about that, um, because he doesn't have insurance, the state only covers 20 pills a month, but there's 28 to 31 days a month. So towards the end of the month, his meds are wearing off, XYZ, whatever. And the trainee in the back is like, shouldn't we call the cops? And the response is, he's a 6'8" black man going through a psychotic episodes. Would you want the cops there?
Mm,
And like me, I appreciate cops. I know that's not a common thing, but like, if you tell the cops that you're going to be there and what is going on, then that's not going to create an issue later. And then they go there, they um, interact with him, they sell him on his psychotic episode, and they're taking him out to the um, ambulance, telling him that it's a helicopter. When the cops show up, and the cops, not knowing what's going on, get reactive, which I think is another thing that's a little overblown, and they make the situation so much worse. And there's this big moment where they're like, the cops are going to shoot the guy. And it really felt to me like they added that scene just to be like, yeah, cops suck.
mm. Yeah, because I feel like media sometimes goes a little too far into like fear mongering things,
Yeah,
especially when there's something that has happened in real life and then they capitalize on it and
yeah,
then be like, this is what always happens, which isn't true. Like, I feel like media says that they're like spreading awareness by doing that, but I feel a lot of the times them spreading awareness is really fear mongering.
yeah,
Um, and so that's too bad.
yeah. So there is a little bit of that. I do want to emphasize that it is very little. Like, you could just skip that scene. You wouldn't miss out on anything, and you would go on, and actually the rest of the movie is pretty good. Like, there are some movies that I feel like it's a message or it's fear mongering. It's not really a story. This one is more based on a real paramedics experience. So it feels like maybe they were just like, oh, we're going to add this so that we can get the bigger paycheck from,
Hmm.
the publisher or whatever. But our main thing is these other things. And it does show those other things really well. Um, like, same with the doctors. They're like, I love how at the, like, for 3/4 of the movie, how they show that the doctors disrespect the paramedics and call them not doctors. Like, hey, you're not a doctor. You don't diagnose them. I diagnose them. That's an actual line from it.
Hmm.
And like, I have seen that. Like, that's a thing. And it's gross because all the paramedic is saying, these are the symptoms. This is what I think it might be. Here's your patient. But the doctor goes,
Yeah.
rightfully so. He's running an ER, right? His stress is through the roof. He has a ton of things, right? Like,
Yeah.
both can be true, but they basically are like, paramedics underappreciated, disrespected by everybody. Doctors are dicks sometimes. Cops are assholes all the time, and
Yeah.
that's a
It's
part I didn't like.
it's like interesting because my dad, he is a judge and a pharmacist, and so like he deals a lot with like teenagers doing drugs and stuff. And so, but then his pharmacy like side of it is able to like kick in and be like, okay, well, you need to go to like rehabilitation, and like this is what I'm sentencing so that you'll get better and stuff. And it's like, I know it's not feasible for everybody to have cop experience, uh, some paramedic experience, doctor experience, but like it would be so helpful if people did, because then everybody could realize what everybody's dealing with. Um,
Or if just media didn't have to say because one's good, the other's bad. Right?
mhm.
If this was the exact same movie and it was like paramedics are underpaid, underappreciated, they deal with the highest, worst moments, right? There's a scene where Dwight's character is responding to a car accident and he finds the mom barely alive, but in her hand is a binky, so he starts freaking out like, am I gonna see a dead baby when I open that car door, kind of a thing. The baby lives, everything's fine, but like it represents that, right? But just because that's a paramedic's life, that doesn't mean that a cop's bad or that a
Yeah,
doctor is bad, right? If it was the same movie and the cops didn't necessarily take the paramedics seriously and the doctors didn't necessarily take them diagnostically serious, fine, but you also don't need to make them bad people, right?
yeah,
Like both can
yeah.
be true.
Just because one deals with a lot doesn't make the other one. Yeah,
Yeah, and I'm kind of like, if they would just show like, hey, the cops are dealing with their crap and they have to deal with like worst case scenario all the time, and paramedics have to see the really ugly parts of these bad days, and doctors have to deal with 20 things all at the same time, and they do anything wrong, anybody could die at any, like,
yeah. Because I
they
mean,
could show all of those things.
there is a little bit crossover with all of these jobs, right? And so
Yeah,
that's, I think they're like trying to show how sometimes one career can get in the way of another one's job, but making them the bad guys, I feel like is not the good
yeah,
call. But like you can show how it is frustrating that sometimes those lines do merge a little bit. Because like sometimes cops are the first ones that arrive on a scene, and then they have to call them
yeah.
in. So it's like,
Well, most of the time that there's paramedics there, there is also cops there.
yeah, yeah,
It's just kind of a thing. They both kind of show up to most things. The other thing is like it's also dependent on where you live too. So like in my hometown, to be a firefighter, you also have to be a paramedic. And I know that's not just a my hometown thing. So the scene where he's trying to buy muffins and wanting the discount, I was sitting there like, I cannot imagine a cashier. Like I could see it if it was the owner of the establishment wanting to make his buck. But the cashier caring enough to be like, you're just a paramedic. Like, I'm not even saying that didn't happen. I'm sure that that is a real experience. I don't doubt that people are that scummy. But
yeah,
like, I just I can't imagine that. Like,
yeah. I mean, like, I was probably my manager's worst nightmare as a cashier because I gave like discounts to everybody.
yeah. And like,
I was like, oh, yep, I can make that cheaper for you. Don't worry.
yeah, and like on top of that, it's like in terms of like public opinion, if you were to scale how popular these roles are in society, cops are at the bottom, firefighters are at the top, paramedics are in the middle of that. Like, um,
Yeah,
so I do think that there's some stuff that they over exaggerated. I do know it's a film. Um, it's just like if I had a magic ability to actually be in charge of this project, those are some changes I would make. Um, but I did still really like this movie. I don't see paramedics getting enough appreciation. Um, I do think it's valid to say that they see the ugliest things. Like, even when a cop shows up, he's not digging through body parts, he's directing traffic or uh,
Yeah.
doing whatever, unless there's like a baby crying, then it might go try and save somebody. But in that case, the baby's alive. But like,
Yeah.
uh, paramedics, one of the stories Dwight's character tells is finding that a postpartum depression mother put her baby in a microwave,
Mm.
right? And it doesn't show it, and I'm really grateful it didn't show it, but it's a scene where he talks about why everybody always talks to him and says, "What's the worst thing you've ever seen?"
Mm.
And he
Yeah, let me just
compares
read
it,
this
and you're like,
comment for you.
that's exactly what he does. He's like, "Hey, why don't you tell me about the worst day you've ever had and relive that while you're trying to eat your cheesesteak sandwich after you haven't eaten 6 hours into your 12-hour shift?"
Yeah.
Um, that was the point of the message, but like, that is what they see, and that is horrifying, and they have to deal with that emotional baggage. Um, so for that, I do think that this is still a really good movie. I still do will recommend it to people. I have some caveats that, like, I don't view doctors are as bad as they are, although that one's not quite as bad. Because it's just one doctor that he's dealing with. If there was multiple all being the same way, then it would be a little bit more egregious. But I do think, like, maybe there is one bad doctor, honestly. Maybe he just is that much of a dick, and. But that's the one they decided to show. Okay, but also, like, not all cops are that bad, and having them around, black people is not a bad thing. Um, like, so those are just the few things, like, my two little criticisms of it, but still doesn't make it a bad movie. There are times where it makes me laugh. There are things that have made me think about. I don't know how high on my rewatch list this will come. I gave it a 7.8 out of 10. I could see myself rewatching it. I do recommend it to people. I may not rewatch it for quite a while. Um, but anything that shines light on first responders, I think is a good thing, especially when they do it honestly. And like I said, I believe that 96% of this is honest. So um, I appreciate it for that.
Okay.
Oh. With that, let's go ahead and get to your horror movie that you watched. This truly terrifying thing gives children nightmares. Um, what is The Woman in Cabin 10?
I don't even think it counts as horror. It was more of like a mystery. It was dumb. Uh, so this is another new movie on Netflix. It has Keira Knightley, and she's like this reporter. Anyway, so she's invited to like record this party on this yacht that was like put together because these people had like added to this cancer research, and one of the lady who put this together has cancer, and like she's um, terminally ill, basically could die any day, and so she invites this journalist on board, and she's like, "Yeah, I like you because you're very honest in your journalism, and I want to go over some things with you." So she like tells her how she's like, "Yeah, I'm gonna give away all of my wealth to this cancer foundation, this cancer research thing," and basically she wrote her husband out of the will and like wants everything to go to this research. And she's like, "Okay, well, that's weird." And she's like, "Well, how are you feeling today?" And she's like, "Oh, well, I'm off my medication because, yeah, I don't like how it makes me feel." And she's like, "I'm circling the drain anyway, so don't want to do it." So she's like, "Oh, okay." And then she goes back to her cabin. Like, she accidentally walked in on somebody in cabin 10. when she was trying to avoid her situationship that's on the ship as well. Um, and then she goes to bed that night, and the girl in that cabin, she hears like screaming, and then she hears somebody go overboard. And so she looks outside, and there's like this frosted window that divides their little porches on the outside. And there's like this bloody handprint, and she's like, that's not good. So she like calls security, like says somebody went overboard, like we need to stop. And then everybody's like going around. They're like, there was nobody in cabin 10. Like nobody's recorded as being in cabin 10. And she's like, no, there was a bloody handprint. I can prove it. Come look. And so she like shows them, and there's no bloody handprint there. And she's like, what? And so like everything is like she's getting gaslit for like half of the movie that this isn't happening, but she's getting like more neurotic about like trying to like prove that there was somebody in that cabin. But they like locked off the cabin, so then she like climbs off over the railing to get inside the cabin, and she's like, there's got to be like hair in the drain or something. So she checks the drain, and she finds some blonde hair, and she's like, somebody was in here, because this is like the maiden voyage of this yacht. So that there's hair in the drain means that somebody was in cabin 10. So she has the hair, and then she gets like, um she's going around to everybody being like, no, I can prove it, I can prove it. And then a lot of people are just like, oh well, didn't you like, this might just be like PTSD because you watched your best friend drown like a year ago, so like maybe you're just having like hallucinations. And she's like, no, I have proof. And then they finally kind of convince her that like to let it go. And then as she's like showering, somebody writes on her mirror like stop searching or whatever. And I was like, dude, she had just stopped searching. Now you're gonna make her like, of course it reamps her being like, somebody was in my shower, somebody's trying to shut me up. And so then she like goes off again, and then somebody tried to push her into a pool and drown her. And then she decides, somebody like dresses up like the girl that she saw in cabin 10, and she starts like chasing her throughout the yacht, and then they lock her up in like this little thing, and the girl like rips her wig off, and it's the cancer lady. And she's like, uh she's like, stop it, stop looking for me, it's me, I'm fine. And she's like, wait, I'm still so confused. This movie's so dumb. Anyway, so the husband found out that his wife had written him out of the will. So he went on Facebook and used AI to find a girl who had a similar face to his wife, and had her cut her hair off, apparently on the yacht in the sink. And that's where she found all the hair, to be like, there was a girl in cabin 10. And then he was going to have her, the actress, sign as his wife to then like uh, change the will back to being going to him. But when the wife found out and like confronted him, he killed her and threw her overboard in cabin 10. And so they found out that it was the wife that went overboard. And then anyway, there's like this whole part where the doctor was trying to kill Keira Knightley, and then she had to like jump off into freezing waters, and they're like, oh, she'll die of hypothermia, it's fine, we're not going to check up on that, it's fine. And then of course she like pops up at the gala that they were having, and then he takes the look-alike wife hostage. And then there's all of a sudden this like bad A guard that ends up shooting um the the guy and saving it was dumb. Anyway, so I give it like
Sounds like you found a winner there.
oh, sorry. I like I was I was like, the pacing was very weird to me. I was excited because of some of the actors that were in it. The girl who plays Rebecca in Ted Lasso is in it, but she's kind of this awful lady that's not even in it very much. Um, yeah, it wasn't. Um, I won't be rewatching it. I'd rather watch Black Panther. I'm giving it a 4. because there were like I was a little like I was thinking that maybe she was crazy the entire time when they were gaslighting her. I was like, nah, she's crazy. She needs to just be quiet. Just enjoy being on a yacht. Stay in your lane. But of course, her like character was all about like unearthing the truth, so she would go to no length. Like, yeah, but it was just like the whole time I was like, you could be smarter about this girl. Anyway, um, so yeah, I give it a 4 because I was interested in it until like the pacing halfway through, like they told the whole revealed the whole secret halfway through the movie. And so then I was like, okay, where are you going from here? And then it kind of was just like a, where is she? But the whole time we know where she is, but nobody else knows where she is. And it was weird pacing and like weird, yeah.
I'm honestly surprised you gave it as good as a 4 with that glowing recommendation you gave. So, I mean,
I mean, like I could see some people liking it. It wasn't for me. I feel like whenever I just get so frustrated with people's decisions in movies like this because I'm like, stop making a fuss about this. Like, because she's trying to unearth something, but she's very loud about it the entire time. And I'm like, and then she'd like get mad when she found out people knew stuff about her investigation. And I'm like, well, girl, you're not really quiet. Like, and then her situationship kept like she would confide in him, and then he would tell everybody else. And then she's like, "How does everybody know this?" And he's like, "I told them." And then she's like, "Why'd you tell them?" I was like, "Girl, why'd you tell him?" Like, anyway, so I can see other people liking it. I give it a 4 because I did like the first half until they revealed everything.
and how does it make you feel that in the movie where they were gaslighting her, you were also a little bit gaslit?
I hated it. I was mad that it worked on me a little bit because I was like, yeah, girl, just just enjoy it. Well, at least I was like, just let it go until you're off the yacht. Like, obviously, nothing's gonna happen, but like, you're making enemies, and there's no way for you to get off this yacht. So like, just wait until you're off the yacht. You're in the middle of the ocean. Yeah. Anyway.
Fair enough. All right. We're going to change gears a little bit. I've got another topic for you guys. I watched Freakier Friday, and if I'm remembering right, Conlon liked this movie pretty well.
Yeah.
Have you seen it? I don't remember. Okay.
No.
Well, here are my thoughts. I don't remember exactly what Conlon said about it. We talked a little bit while he was visiting, um, but I was kind of tentative about it. But after his review, I was like, okay, give it a shot. We'll see what this is all about. My thoughts are this is a really crappy version of the first. Um, they make callbacks to the old movie, then retell that same joke like 4 times. So, like, there's the scene in the original where she's like, "Ah, I'm like the crypt keeper," right?
Yeah.
So when she switches bodies again, she does it again, but then she has like it kind of feels like the writers weren't sure which line was funniest, so they were like, "Here's 10 of them. Just kind of like do it." So she does the first one and then she faints and everybody's like, "Is she dead?" And then all of a sudden she's like delivering these other lines again about looking old. And I'm like, "Okay, that was dumb."
Yeah.
Sometimes they'll make a joke and it kind of feels like they made it for the theaters, so they give a pause because they expect the audience to laugh.
Mm.
But I'm just me and I didn't find it very funny. So they tell a joke, and I'm just like, what are we doing? We just gotta sit around right now. Nothing's really
I'm
moving forward.
not gonna laugh no longer how much you pause.
Doesn't make it funny. In the first movie, you had Squinty Eyes have a crush on the mom,
Hmm.
and that's a little bit awkward, but you can kind of like accept it a little bit. In this one, he comes back and still has a crush on the mom, but is in love with her.
Hmm.
And so it went from that's a little uncomfortable, but you can kind of laugh at it to could I not watch this? Like this is cringy and awkward, and I don't want to watch this. Um, it's just like not great. There are some good things to it. Um, there are some good moments. There's good stuff to the movie. It's not an all bad movie. I won't be rewatching it simply because the first exists. And
Hmm.
it's like, I would rather watch the first where they don't have uncomfortable pauses or retell the jokes 4 times.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
kind of like the original. Like, it's a classic, Like, is
Yeah.
this one of the better, like, reboot nostalgia things? Yes, I would put it on the better side.
The worst of the better.
But it's like, I still don't think it should exist. Like, we have the original. The original isn't bad. Its jokes aren't dated. It's fine.
Yeah.
Just watch the original is kind of my opinion on that. And so
Yeah. I always hate the requels, like the remakes that are prequel
sequels.
sequels. There we go. I was like, that's not right. Yeah, I as like a creative, well, I like to think that I'm a creative. Um, it drives me nuts how doing that sells. And so we're not getting a lot of new stuff because people are just banking off of nostalgia. And I was like, okay, but like when we go on to like the next generation, we don't have anything for you to make like all of these sequel stuffs. And like you don't have the nostalgia there. So it's like people need to come up with their own stories and like new ideas. And so I always get a little bit eye rolly and grunty and old manny when
Get off my lawn!
get off my intellectual property. I,
Fair.
like it get, I get angry when it's like, okay, well now we're gonna beat Star Wars to death. Now we're gonna find this thing and do this thing to death. Um, I think the only thing that I was ever really excited that they were bringing back and it flopped. I don't think it flopped. I thought it was great. Is the Dark Crystal, the series that they did. Um, I loved those, and I was really worried about those actually. Um, and they were going to have it be an animated series, and I'm so glad they didn't because the part of what like makes like the Dark Crystal good is because the puppets. I know that's why you hate it, but
I hate it for a lot of reasons, but
yeah,
that is one of the main ones.
is a
Yes.
big one. Yeah. But I thought it was really well done, and I was really sad that that didn't continue. But that one was like a passion project. That wasn't a reboot to get money. Uh, I feel like we need more passion projects. Um, and I don't think that Freakier Friday, it sounds like it wasn't a passion project.
I would say that it was. It wasn't like they were trying to politicize it or make it into a message or whatever. There is good stuff to it, like I said. Lindsay Lohan, I do want to support her in trying to like be a good person now. So like that's a good thing. Um, she made a lot of mistakes, and it drove her from being
An
the
actress.
princess of
Yeah.
the early 2000s to arrested. So I think it's good that she is back doing good things and trying to be a good person and all that kind of stuff. It's just hopefully this leads to more roles for her. She's a good actress. As like this just wasn't all that great. It wasn't horrible. It wasn't bad. I do have those couple of criticisms to it. Like I was making fun of the "I'm the crypt keeper" scene. But like the first time they delivered the line, it was kind of funny. I just didn't like that they were like, but what if this line's funnier? Or what if this line's funnier? Or what if this line's funnier?
Hmm.
And they did update it to make it more Gen Z sounding kind of stuff and all that kind of hijinks. And it's just, Conlon and I were talking about it. It's still one of the better switched bodies, hijinks kind of movies, but that's because there's Freaky Friday and like some really terrible, awful movies
Have you seen the original Freaky Friday?
with Lindsay Lohan or
Uh-uh.
the no, I haven't.
Earlier. Um, that was an interesting one. I remember watching that one and That Darn Cat, because I think it had the same actress in it. Um, but like, it's so funny because I think about that Freaky Friday all the time.
Okay. Yep.
But just because there was one scene that I feel like the dad was so mean to the daughter, he like tricks her into doing something that she didn't want to do. But it's yeah, it's funny. Um, I think maybe we should all watch that one, the old one, because Freaky Friday with Lindsay Lohan is a remake. So
Yeah, but not the same way that this one
right,
is.
yeah, because this is
Right.
the a remake sequel.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And it wasn't a like nostalgia bait. Like they weren't trying to do it to just bank on the IP.
yeah.
There's quite a few differences there, but yeah. I gave it a 6.7 out of 10. I don't know if I said that or not.
No,
Like, it's fine. It's not going on my rewatch list. Would I rather watch it than Black Panther? Yeah, yeah, I would.
gun to my head, yeah. Just kidding.
Wouldn't really choose to watch either of them, but if I had to choose one, that is the one that I would pick. So, all right, let's get on to our shared topic. Lauren, how hard did you cry?
I didn't cry this time. That is, I mean, the heartstrings were tugged, but that was because I was watching it while I was playing Helldivers. I
Illegal!
I was yeah, I was trying to get I was farming on Helldivers while I was watching this. Um but this soundtrack, like if I just listen to the soundtrack, I'll cry. It is so pretty. Um it's also like I was thinking about this time while watching it, and there was like a lot of things that I did not pick up on it when I watched it. Because I don't think I've seen this movie since I was in high school, and but I really love this movie. I'd watch it over and over again. Uh, I didn't realize like how much of like poor James like people just people being crappy about assuming what's going on and then like spreading these rumors to everybody when it's like literally he's just like no, I'm just like being imaginative with these kids. Like that's literally all that's happening and like helping the mom. And like,
Well, you should be happy to know that that didn't happen in real
I
life.
know it didn't, and it made me like, yeah, I thought this was like a documentary. Just kidding. But I was obsessed with like Peter Pan stories growing up because I had to grow up real quick, but I pretended like I didn't grow up for like the sake of my family because I was the baby of the family, and so I always have to be like the baby or whatever. But I was like, I remember I had I don't remember when I haven't had a job. Like I was always doing like under the table jobs and stuff, and like I don't know. So like Finding Neverland hit with me because you have like these little kids who have to grow up, but the main character is like trying to be like, no, like stay little. Like I know you have to deal with a lot, and like I was realizing I was like when Peter has this part where he's like, no, you're just wanting me to pretend that everything's okay with all of these like little things that we're doing when it's not okay. And I was like, ah, yes, it's called dissociating. Like, I remember in high school, I actually did this whole thing for FCCLA. It was like reading and bringing back imagination, is what I called it. And it was because my high school didn't have a library. And so I was trying to like, I started like a book club and stuff and was trying to get a library, raise money for books, did shop class so I could make shelves for the library, found an old storage room that we could convert into a library. Um,
And we wonder why the intelligence of penguins is going down.
Going down, it was
Okay, we
never up.
wonder why it was never up. Okay.
We had a public library. Um, but yeah, anyway, this is like a movie that I thought of often when I was like doing that stuff of um, like the part where he brings the play to her house. That's my favorite scene when they're like all in there and like I did get a little choked up. I didn't full out cry this time, but I did get a little choked up when they're like, "So you believe in fairies?" And it's like at that point, it's like um, in my mind, I was like, "Oh, they're actually saying like, believe it gets better, like believe this isn't the end, believe it gets better." Um, and it's like a really good movie about grief. Um, that for the first time I was like, oh, yeah, that is what this movie is about. um,
Really? The kid is so robotic and unemotional because he's going through grief. The mom is dealing with the loss. The other boys are dealing with the loss.
mhm.
He is dealing with his dying relationship, our main character is, and his failing career. And this movie is about grief.
I thought it was about Peter
What?
Pan, to be honest. I
That's
was obsessed
insane.
by it in Neverland. um, yeah, that's what was really bothering me this time though was paying attention to the relationship with his wife. Um, because before I was always like, oh, the wife is so horrible and stuff, and it's like, yeah, she was supportive to the when the
Career.
play uh, was put on, but in nothing else. And he did like say like, "Hey, want to come to the park with me?" And she's like, "Well, are you working?" And he's like, "Well, yeah, but like I want you to come with me." And then she had this whole thing of like where she's like, "I wanted you to take me to Neverland." He's like, "I tried so many times." Because he's like, yeah, when he was playing with the boys, he was working, but that was like his imagination of like, and then he'd like write down what happened, and so like he was asking his wife to go on these adventures with him, but she's like, "No, it's okay." But then she later was like, "This is what I need from you to like give us a chance." And then he was like, not sorry. I was like, I hated that whole relationship. I did not like it on either end. Um, I feel like the movie could have been just fine if he was single. If he was single, I think it would have been just fine. Um, Other than you wouldn't have the grandma being like, "You're ruining her prospects," and I was like, I actually think that the disease that's killing her is ruining her prospects because I don't think she's gonna live long enough to have another husband. By
To be
uh,
fair, the grandma doesn't know that she's dying at that point.
that is fair. Um, but yeah, and there was like I noticed this time how they kept everybody kept addressing how this looks outside of everything, like how people are gossiping about stuff, and like part of me was mad about it, and then another part of me was like, well, if people still mad, but for a different reason. I was like, people were really worried about that. They should have done something about it than just speculating. Um, anyway, this movie's great.
What do you rate it on a scale 1 to 10?
I would give it a 9.
Okay. Well, now that this robot over here is done with her spiel, um,
Robot.
yeah, unemotional robot.
No, I told you how it made me cry every single time I watch it, but this time I
Just
just
not this time, because now you're a robot, dead inside. Um, the historical inaccuracies of this movie is egregious. Some of you may have caught on. She mentioned it a few times, but for official sake, we're talking about Finding Neverland. Um, and the family had 5 boys, not 4. Uh, Johnny Depp's character met the father before he died, quite significantly. Johnny Depp's character and his wife didn't have relationship issues like that, and they didn't get divorced or separated. In fact, after the mom died, he adopted the 5 boys. Um, the 5 boys have like that whole family has got to have been cursed because the dad dies of sickness, the mom dies of sickness, 2 of the boys die in World War I. The one, Peter, is based on Peter. He goes to war, he survives, but he deals with PTSD. It leads him to commit suicide at 65. Like, that whole family is just honestly tragic story. Is really really bad. But like the whole romance aspect between Johnny Depp and the mom didn't happen. Uh, there was no gossiping about them being together. It wasn't a thing. Um, so the only like truth to the story is that Peter Pan was based on him interacting with these 4 boys. That was true. The 5th boy was just a little baby, so didn't really play a part in the imagination, which is why the movie decided to say that there was only 4 boys. Um, but that's all true. And then, like I said, after the mom died, he does adopt them, and he's with his wife still, and she also helps finish raising these boys. Um, That being said, if we can ignore the historical inaccuracies, which I don't mind doing one bit because this is one of my favorite Johnny Depp movies, um, and this falls in an area where I watch it, I absolutely love it. It breaks me. Specifically, that scene in the living room where the mom's sick and they're doing the play just for her. Like, holy freaking crap. I know that didn't happen in real life, and that the mom also lived like 5 or 6 years after the play debuted. But, like, watch that scene and don't cry. You're a robot, because holy crap, that hits you so hard. It makes me not want to watch it as much because, like, I don't want to be all sad. So then I don't watch it for a while. I forget how traumatic it is, and I watch it again, going, I liked that movie. Why don't I pick it? Even when I picked this as our shared topic, Lauren was like, I'm going to get my tissues out. And I was like, I
Yeah,
remember it being a little sad,
I
but like,
remember saying, I was like, oh
what are
wow.
you talking about?
I remember saying, I was like, oh, so you want to traumatize me this week? And you're like, it's not that sad. And now you're calling me the robot.
Yeah, because you didn't cry. I
There
did. I was
weren't
sitting on that
waterworks.
couch going, oh, that's so sad. Um, this movie's fantastic. Johnny Depp does a great job. I love him in this role. I think he absolutely killed it. The kid who plays Peter, probably, I think, the best kid actor that has ever lived. Um, he does
Yeah.
this. He does August Rush. He does or did a whole bunch of stuff, and like,
No, that's a different one. I was like, I see dead people. No, that's a different kid actor, I believe.
I think that also might be him.
Actually, no, I think yeah,
Yeah, that's him.
yeah. Okay, yeah,
Anyway,
he's
yeah, he absolutely kills it. I'm glad that he's like the focus character of the boys because the other boys aren't necessarily the best actors, but like you don't really notice it unless you're looking for it, kind of a thing. Um, I love, like I said, the music, the mom. She's the girl from Titanic. I actually like her in this movie, which
Kate
is
Winslet.
amazing. Yeah. Um, every single aspect of this movie is so real feeling, even though it's not necessarily historically accurate. But like the way people spread rumors and all that kind of stuff that Lauren was talking about, that's a very real thing. Uh, like you could watch this movie and be like, yeah, that totally is how it happened, which is just so incredible. But the thing I want to really focus on, the thing that stood out to me this time, is how Johnny Depp's character, I'm sorry I don't remember his name, talks to the boy who is Peter. It was absolutely astounding to me. So there's the scene where Peter is tearing up his play and destroying everything, and Johnny Depp just sits there. He doesn't get involved. He kind of lets him do his thing. He does it, um, and then he talks to him like he's a real person. Like he's a boy who's upset. He's like, "Don't lie to me. Don't tell me it's just another chest cold again." And Johnny Depp's like, "I'm not telling you that. The truth is, I don't know. I'm not going to tell you it's okay because I don't know. I will tell you that things can be bad and you can still have an imagination and have fun sometimes. You know, there's the scene where he's talking to him again, um, at the hospital, and he's like, "Don't you dare lie to me. I'm sick of adults lying to me." And he's like, "I'm not going to lie to you, Peter. I'm not going to. Um, the truth is, I don't know." Again, he has the maturity to be like, he doesn't need it. He doesn't need an adult to lie to him. He doesn't need that to happen because of the trauma of what happened with his dad. Um, the way he distracts the boys, like everybody's sitting there freaking out, worrying about the mom in the cabin, and
The
he just
coin.
the coin and the stamps, and he distracts them, and like,
I love that scene because you can see him doing that, and as soon as the boys get doing that, then he kind of recoils into
yeah,
the
he's just kind of like, okay, I've
I got him
done what
distracted.
I can for
Yeah.
this situation. Now I've got to prepare myself for when the doctor's done.
Hmm.
Um,
That was a good scene.
he treats them with such respect and love and admiration, but still like kids, and that to me is such a beautiful balance that I didn't necessarily notice the first few times.
It's
The writing for
interesting.
it is great.
Yeah. It's interesting because, like, you mentioned how there's like the love story aspect in between Johnny Depp's character and Kate Winslet's character.
Yeah,
This was the first time I watched it that I did not see the romance. Like, before, I would have said, yeah, it's a romance, but this was the time that, like, I watched it, and honestly, it's not a romance. It's him actually just trying to support this single mom and her kids. And like,
yeah,
there was no cheating or anything. It was just him showing up.
yeah. I can definitely see both sides of the argument. It is kind of just accepted that it's a romance, so
Yeah.
I did want to address that there in real life was no romance. But yeah, just like the way Johnny Depp's character just interacts with people is so mature and amazing for somebody who has such a wild, childlike imagination. Um,
Hmm.
the way, right, like, so him and his wife are getting into a fight about Neverland or whatever. Or no, it was Kate Winslet. Um, Kate Winslet was like, "You were the one who told us to pretend it was always gonna be okay," and he's just like, "Not always." And you feel that, like, not always, not just because he's saying don't always just pretend everything's okay, but because he showed it time and time again beforehand with how he's able to seriously deal with when these boys are struggling. um, and it's such a beautiful, great movie. I truly believe you would be have to be a robot not to have it hit you like a freaking truck when the mom is dying and he brings in the orchestra, the actors, and they all are sitting there around. Like, even
Okay.
if they cut out the, like, believe in fairies scene, which is the heaviest scene, even if you cut that, like, I was getting emotional when it just starts, and you're just like, oh, it's so beautiful. They brought everybody in. It's so cute. And their mom gets to see it and gets to go to Neverland. And it's so awesome.
So I have to say, I was watching this like an hour before recording this. And so I knew I was going to cry during that scene. So I didn't pay attention to that scene because I didn't want to come on here like freshly crying.
Robot over here.
No, I'm just smart and knew to skip that scene.
Dead inside.
So good though.
Yeah. Um,
Hurts
but
so
like I
good.
said, this is just such a good one. Every single time I watch it, I'm like, I, like you, had to grow up a lot faster than I probably should have. But I've always had that, like, desire to want to still be childish. And this is the movie that I feel like gives me permission to do so. To illustrate how much so, I am quite an awkward person. I don't usually do silly things or whatever. And this isn't necessarily like the most outgoing thing I could have done or whatever. But I was watching a show and it was playing Phantom of the Opera music or whatever at the beginning of the credits. I'll talk more about that show next week. So if you know what I'm talking about, great. If not, you're gonna find out. But I just started belting Phantom of the Opera. I was just like rocking it. And normally, if I saw or heard somebody, I'd be like, "Better shut down. I don't want to irritate them with my voice or whatever." But my neighbor went out and got in her car, and I was still just like rocking it. I was like, "I'm killing it today." I had just woken up, so my voice was a little bit deeper, and I could hit those deeper notes. And I'm like, feeling good about this.
I would
So,
love to have been your neighbor at that point.
uh, you're never gonna get to see it. Sorry, but you can know that it happened.
That's
But yeah,
good.
it's such a good movie. I'm giving it a 9.8 out of 10 because it's just so, like. Can you name a better Johnny Depp movie? Can you name a better movie that deals with all of these themes so well? Like, I don't know, was it like a month ago? I was talking to about something Conlon and I reviewed, and I was like, I'm sick of these grief movies. Like, so many of them, time again.
Yeah, it was the life of Chuck.
Yeah, it's like I'm so sick of these grief
We
movies.
don't need grief movies. We have Finding Neverland.
We exactly. There's not a better one. It's
We're done.
perfect. It's so good.
Perfect. Move
Um,
on.
yeah. This movie is honestly so good. I could watch it again today. I watched it yesterday. Like I could very easily be like, yeah, I'll watch that. I don't think I
Yeah.
will, but if somebody were to like come over and be like, I want to watch that movie. You just talk about it. Like, yeah, it's a great one. Let's watch it. It's so good.
I'm ready to cry.
I'm ready to cry again, but man tears, so they fall down and I suck them
Oh
back
my
in.
god. It was just a single man tear. You can let go
Well,
now.
this one is worth more than one tear. It's so good. If you have not seen Finding Neverland, get off your butt right
Get on your
now.
butt. Turn on your TV.
Well, find it wherever it's at. You gotta go get it or buy it or rent it or
Are you saying they should
actually don't
find
rent it.
Finding Neverland?
Buy it because it's so good. You'll want to watch it again. I guarantee it. Don't rent this movie. Buy it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it's so good. And the other thing I just wanted to bring up is like this isn't the only grief movie starring Johnny Depp where he interacts with a child and makes the child feel more childlike and is a really good movie. And he is also a pirate in both of these movies. And I have the the Doofenshmirtz thing where it's like if I had a nickel every time I'd have two nickels, but isn't it weird it happened twice?
Yeah.
Um, that's what I was thinking because I my probably second favorite Johnny Depp movie is Chocolat.
Chocolate. Oh, yeah, yeah.
Chocolat,
Oh, okay, yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
And
I need to.
again, he's a pirate.
I
He
need to watch
interacts
that.
with the
That's on
little
my
girl
autumn
maturely.
playlist.
It's so good, and he teaches her that like, hey, even though there's a lot of crap going on, you can still be a child and have fun and
Yeah.
silly. And so again, I was like, man, that should just be Johnny Depp's role in my life because like
Be a
he
kid.
kills it. He does such a good job.
Yeah.
Uh,
I really like Johnny Depp.
I like him sometimes, but these ones always work for me. I don't see my life ever going to a point where I'm like, Finding Neverland sucks. It's so good. If you haven't seen it, go buy it, watch it. If you have seen it, but just not in a while, go buy it and watch it. If
Just
you
company
saw this
snacks.
6 months ago, go buy it and watch it. It's so good. Just watch this movie. I cannot recommend this one enough. Like, it is genuinely a great movie.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's all I've got to say. Any last thoughts on it?
No, you hit it on the head. I also really like Finding Neverland. I'm kind of mad I haven't watched it since high school. Um, I think I've probably watched it once in between high school and now, but like I remember being like watching it over and over and over again in high school. Um, but yeah, it's very good. Um, yeah, I love this movie. Johnny Depp's great in it. It's also very young. Kind of
Yeah.
like freaked me out.
Yeah.
But and he has such a very like his diction is very satisfying to me in this
Oh,
movie.
yeah. Yeah, they do the old timey talk, and sometimes that bothers me. And that this one, it didn't at all. I think even the kids do a great job with their dialect. So
Speaking of robots, his wife was a robot in this. I was like, I've never noticed that, and it slightly bothered me.
Oh, I've always noticed she was cold and a little bit of a hoe. Like the scene where like he catches her with the guy, and they're just like, "Oh, he came to talk to you about X, Y, Z, whatever." I was like, "Oh," but the first time I saw this, I was well out of college, so it was pretty recently.
Mm,
So
yeah,
I guess I just was more mature at that time to notice that kind of stuff, but it's still good.
it's still very
It's still
good.
very good. Okay, everybody, thank you so much for watching and or listening. I appreciate every single one of you. If you have great Johnny Depp movies to recommend, I want to hear your guys' favorites. Um, Even if it's pirates, I would love to tell you guys why I think the third one's the best. And um, yeah, that's all I got to say. Remember to be better today than yesterday. Join us next time. We're going to be going over our top 10 books and games, going to figure out what Lauren thinks and how she breaks down her list. I'm excited about it. So we'll see you next week. Thank you. Peace out.